Hi and welcome to the Homeopathy Health Show. I'm Atiq Ahmed Bhatti, a fourth generation homeopath with over 25 years of professional experience and practice in this field of healing. The Homeopathy Health Show is the online voice of homeopathy around the world, promoting and raising awareness of this truly unique system of healing, which is suitable for all ages, young and old. Every week I invite guests from the world of homeopathy to come and share their experiences, their work, offer insights, and essentially talk all things homeopathy. Why not visit www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast button to listen to the latest episodes. So let's begin today's show here on UK Health Radio, the world's #1 talk health radio. Hi and welcome to another episode of the Homeopathy Health Show here on the UK Health Radio Network, and I'm Atiq Ahmed Bhatti.
And I'm Naila Tima. Welcome everyone.
It's been an extraordinary week, month and year actually so far, but hey, I have some absolutely wonderful news, which is that our guest today is the globally acclaimed homeopath, author and educator, the respected Dr. Farouk Master. And he is, as I've already mentioned, one of the most respected and influential figures in contemporary homeopathy. He has decades of clinical experience, has treated thousands of patients around the world, and specializes in complex and chronic conditions, including cancer, autoimmune disorders, and psychiatric illnesses. Now, if you're not aware, he's also the first Indian homeopath to receive an honorary PhD in oncology, and has integrated classical homeopathy with modern research. I had the good fortune earlier this year to actually meet with Dr. Farouk Master in London, and it was a sheer delight. It was absolutely just so nice indeed. And I tell you what, we live in this modern connected global world, right? And everything seems to be online. But until you meet somebody face to face, I mean, it's just totally different, that first handshake, that sitting across the table having a cup of coffee and just talking. It's just bliss. But hey, enough about that. So myself and Naila will be talking to Dr. Farouk Master today on a number of things, including some cases that he would like to share. I would say congratulations to Dr. Master also for being a fellow of the Society of Homeopaths, and congratulations to him. So Dr. Farouk Master, from Naila and myself, welcome to the Homeopathy Health Show, and welcome again because you are a returning guest.
Thank you so much, Atiq, and thank you so much, Naila. I'm ready. You can fire questions to me and I'll answer to best of my ability.
I must say, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Master is so humble. I absolutely love him. It's just so inspirational. And let's see what happens in this conversation on the Homeopathy Health Show. So the first question we have, we hardly ask questions, but to start this conversation, Dr. Master, so Naila and myself were thinking about how many homeopaths, especially in the early days of practice, can become overwhelmed where cases initially respond very well to the prescribed remedy, whether it's constitutional or totality, or whether they've used a miasmatic remedy that was required. And then what they find is after several weeks, the patient stops responding. And sometimes, or many a time, remedies can be adjusted accordingly, but the patient doesn't seem to respond further than a maximum number of days. What is your guidance and what's your way forward when somebody faces like an obstacle or a blockade in healing?
Okay, so there are many reasons why an indicated remedy may not show you the efficacy as a simillimum when you prescribe to the patient. Okay, so this is what the question is. And let us examine slowly what could be the cause of this. The first and the most important thing is the wrong remedy. So if you have selected a wrong remedy, definitely, or a partially acting remedy or a partial simillimum, as you know, the patient will definitely feel better initially, but then later on, they'll be back to square one. I think so. This is one of the commonest observation of what we call as a remedy reaction, where you will see that the amelioration is for too short a period. The amelioration is too short a period. That's what Dr. Atik is trying to ask me. And here the most important thing is the partial semilimum. See that many times we are not able to select the exact semilimum. And that is why many times in our practice also, we don't get 100% result always when we give the first prescription to the patient. You follow? And that is why we have to re-study the case if we see such a short amelioration and try to first find out whether is there some mistake in selection of the remedy, which is very, very important to this point. But suppose you have really worked very hard and you have seen that no, everything is going smoothly, the remedy was correct, everything was correct, and then now the remedy is showing only a very short amelioration. You have to find out whether patient is following the rules of homeopathy, whether he is not antidoting the remedy, whether he is taking the remedy correctly, whether he is taking the dosage properly. This also is very important. Because every time we can't blame ourselves when the remedy doesn't work. Sometimes we have to blame the patient because I have seen in my practice, patients do not always follow what we tell them to follow. That could also be one possibility. Another possibility, if the patient is taking remedy correctly, if you have selected the remedy correctly, you have restudied the case properly, you have checked in your materia medica that yes, the reflection of the case is directly in your materia medica very well, then you have to find out some obstacles to recovery. And majority of the time, the obstacle could be a deep-seated miasm, which a remedy is not able to cover. So let me give you some examples. Hahnemann has mentioned in his chronic disease, the materia medica of anti-psoric remedies. As you know, Hahnemann wrote Materia Medica in two books. One is Materia Medica Pura and one is Chronic Disease. And why did he do this? In Chronic Disease, he ultimately said that this is the Materia Medica of anti-psoric remedies. Now, what is the significance of anti-psoric remedies in Hahnemann's time? He said that the cure for almost all chronic disease ultimately should end in anti-psoric remedies. And that is why he found out those set of remedies. Of course, you all know he had total 99 remedies in his hand. So at that time, when he completed his work on chronic disease, the second edition, he said this is the group which will help you to eradicate the deep-seated miasms and finally cure the patient. But after Hahnemann died, we have added almost 5,000 more remedies today. And that is why we really don't know which one is a very deep-seated anti-psoric remedy. What was the criteria on which Hahnemann said this is the anti-psoric and this is not anti-psoric? Till today, we really do not know. But if you ask me that what could be one of the reasons, I would definitely say a deep-acting, well-proved, classically proved in a Hahnemannian way, that remedy could be a deep-acting anti-psoric remedy. So what happens, let's say, for an example, a lady who has witnessed a death of the father in her own arms. She gets a shock, and after the shock, she develops a migraine. Now, she doesn't know what homeopathy is, and so she goes to a modern doctor and takes allopathic drugs for a migraine, and finally nothing happens, and then she comes to a homeopath after 2 years. Now here, if you give an acute remedy, which is the remedy for the shock, the patient will not respond so nicely because that phase of shock has passed in the last 2 years. And now that acute mental shock rubric will no longer be adequate to cure the migraine. Here you need a remedy where the shock is chronic and you need something where the shock has remained for 2 years and still aggravating the migraine. So if she had come the very next day after the father's death or within 7 days, yes, aconite you can think of. But this is not a state of aconite. This could be a state of either opium, plutonium nitricum, or Menceinella. These are the three remedies where the stage of shock has now become almost chronic. Now, this is where if you are given aconite in a chronic case, the case will be little better in migraine, but I tell you, I promise you, patient will not feel better after some time. So that in mind. So this is another very important thing, not able to use a remedy at a deeper level. Now, fright basically is a psoric miasm, but when fright and its effect become much more chronic, then it almost becomes a psychotic miasm. And here you should think of an antipsychotic remedy more than an anti-psoric remedy. So, Atik, this is very important that you might not have touched miasm or you might not have touched the case at a deeper level. Second cause, very important, is you might not have treated the exact cause which led the chief complaint. Now, if you are asking me about autoimmune disease, I'll give you a case example. There was a lady who comes with a perfect rheumatoid picture with finger joints, knee joints, hip joints inflamed, painful, and she was on painkiller and she was on immunosuppressions. She comes to me and says, I want to stop immunosuppression. I want to reduce my painkiller and anti-inflammatory drugs, and I want to be purely on homeopathy. I'm not going to tell you the whole case in detail, but the summary in a nutshell, the husband was abusive. The husband was adulterous. There were constant fight. This man only wanted his wife for sex, and after the sex, the man didn't want to do anything with the wife. So this was his only interest, having sex with the wife without any love and without any affection. Understood? And so slowly and slowly, she was neglected. And then she has children. She tries to focus her life around the children. But children also were a little disobedient and never respected the mother so much. And that is why after some time she felt that there is no place for her in this family. She had too much anger against her husband. In fact, her husband was never a part of her life, and she thinks that the rest of my life now, I have to live as if I have no family in front of me. So this was the situation of this particular woman. So when you think about this case, she has too much anger against her husband, correct? Then she was never interested in having also sex with her husband. She never cared for her husband. She had a fear of her husband because sometimes husband becomes even abusive towards her. If she refuses to give sex to him, she was totally indifferent to her husband. And she always felt that her marriage is a waste. Sometimes also a negative thought will come in her mind. I hope my husband dies. This was the whole feeling in front of this woman. And so with this kind of a situation, and she felt many times that I should leave the house, go alone, stay alone somewhere, either in the forest or in a small village. And believe me, she was a highly educated woman. She was a banker before marriage. She had children and she had to leave the job because she has to take care of her children. So this was the whole situation. Now here, what are the remedies that you can think of? So everything revolves around lack of love. Everything revolves around her marriage. Everything revolves around that she was not able to get the blissful feeling from the family. So she had a lot of anger also towards her family, towards her husband. I gave her a remedy, Adamus. Now you all know that Adamus is a very important remedy which has got a strong problem associated with husband. Remember that. And there is a total lack of love. If you see the rubric 4-second feeling also, anger towards husband, aversion to husband, during intercourse. All these rubrics you will see very nicely in Adamus. Also, if you see the rubric ailments from being scorned, also you will see Adamus. And very important is that delusion hated by others. There is a rubric also. You will see Adamus. Delusion trapped she is because she was trapped in this marriage. You will see Adamus. Delusion suffered wrong also you will see Adamus. So anyway, I can tell you many rubrics were fitting at the Adamus. And so I gave Adamus for the next almost 1.5 years in different potencies. Started with 30, went to LM, tapered her anti-inflammatory drugs. And the first thing that we started tapering was the immunosuppression. In 2 years' time, she was totally drug-free. The deformity stopped developing in her body. Before that, she had a swollen knee, swollen elbow. All those swelling disappeared. And she became very nicely mobile. First, she can't even used to climb staircase. Now she started climbing staircase, started walking. She could walk 3 to 4 kilometers in a garden without getting fatigued, without getting tired, without getting pain. So here you will see how we could treat the whole case in a very nice way. You want me to tell you another case also?
Please do share. This is such a beautiful opportunity.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, if I can ask a question that is coming to my mind.
Ask.
Sometimes people come to you after seeing many homeopaths and they have used a lot of homeopathic remedies before.
Yes.
How do you, they are coming with various pathologies, they have been treated for 2-3 years with various homeopathic remedies. How do you approach these cases, or how should we approach these cases?
So mostly, see, it's like that. For me, all homeopaths are equal. Correct? Some has a good experience and some do not have a good experience. Some are very skillful and some are not even at all skillful, even though they are practitioner for last 20, 30 years. Understood?
Yes.
What I try to do basically is, I'm not basically asking the patient what remedy the other homeopath gave you, because then I can be a little prejudiced towards the person. You understood?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I basically do is, first I try to give placebo to the patient after the consultation, at least for first 5-7 days, and see what is the effect of the placebo on the patient's psychology. Or I hear from the patient what was his experience with other homeopathic doctors' treatment. And if they said, every time I took the powder, I developed this symptom, every time I took the medicine, I developed that symptom, that means either this homeopath was giving very high potency or repeating the wrong remedy over and over again. Understood? So in that situation, again, I will see to it that the remedy that I select will not be in high potency and it should not have been repeated too frequent, even though if it's a right remedy. You understood? Going back to a new case, again a married woman. Husband is a jeweler, very rich family. Wife is not at all educated. Husband is also not educated, but husband takes care of a family business, jewelry business. They have a very big showroom. Early marriage, arranged marriage. After marriage, lot of restrictions. She never wanted to marry early. She wanted to study, but her mother never listened to her. Mother said, if you get married, then there will be a chance for my other daughters to get married. So please, you marry right now. But she was not at all ready for that. Also, mother was busy with the sons in the family and not with her. So she always felt neglected by her mother because she never received that attention from the mother. Father was very busy in his own business. Father has a business of logistic. So he was very busy. So finally, she ends up being not so much loved in her childhood, getting married against her wish to this man, and then lot of restriction because she marries in a very orthodox environment. So you have to cover your face, you have to cover your head, you cannot wear certain dresses, you cannot go out without permission, and all restrictions are there. She was too timid to express her feeling to mother-in-law, to father-in-law, and to her husband. So everything remains inside, inside, and inside. Nothing comes outside, but she builds up a pretty good anger. This is for sure. The anger element was very strong. And then what happens? Again, here's a situation where she is not loved. Nobody is going to take care of her, and she feels that this mother-in-law is persecuting her. The family members are persecuting her, and she cannot come out of this situation because she is too mild to come out of this situation. And mother-in-law is very strong, very dominating. Even the husband has to follow the mother-in-law. So the first thing that came to my mind was that she is under the control of a superhuman person, a very strong, a very dominating person. Now, when you think about this kind of a situation, you should think of certain snake remedies where somebody is trying to take a full control over your body, over your emotions, over your life. The second group of remedies would be spiders. So this was going on in my mind. I had not decided the remedy because I was thinking that what else I can think in this particular situation. But first thing that came to my mind was this. Then of course she felt, why this is happening to me? What was my fault? So delusion suffered wrong, why everything is happening. Now we all know, we have all studied Adamus just now, but even any snake and spider remedies also has this feeling that why am I suffering so wrongly? What have I done in my life that I should? She gradually loses her identity because it is a mother-in-law who is the person. Everything goes according to her wish. So there is a nice rubric, delusion. She has identity of somebody else. Again, spider and snake remedies are coming. So every rubric that I thought in this case were dominated either by a snake or by a spider. Persecuted that she is. Now we all know that here, when there is a question of being persecuted, remedies like Drosera, Calibromicum, China, again snakes, again spiders will crop up. So that was also very characteristic about this patient's story. Then I told you about the superhuman, and then what else? Most important part over here is the forsaken feeling, sense of isolation. Again, snake and spiders are coming very nicely. But whenever the husband and mother-in-law are in the house, she always felt something will happen to her, something will say something to her, and she will feel bad. So fear of reproach, that's the right rubric. Fear of reproach is another very important symptom where you will see a snake-like ellipse, but also some spiders. So that was also there in her case. And finally, we came to the chapter of dreams because I asked her, do you see any dreams? And she said, very rarely, but if at all I see dream, it is I dream of all the fights, all the embarrassment, and then I also see my divorce taking place in the dream. She never wanted a divorce because she had a children, but in the dream, but I could not see that word divorce. So I saw a rubric court judicial. And in court judicial, I again saw a spider and another remedy like caprinum. But I saw a spider and I never saw a snake over here. In dream also, she saw that she is not being loved at all by people. So this is very important. And then she had a very wonderful craving, desire for chocolates. Now I put all my rubrics together that she loves chocolate and she has a dream of a divorce, superhuman, persecuted. And I thought of a remedy, Leptrodectus Hasselti. Leptrodectus Hasselti is a very small spider, correct? And it's what is known as, it comes, I think so, from Australia, New South Wales. It's a black spider, and it has a wonderful symptoms. In the Materia Medica, very nice proving which has been done by Thawing, and Thawing has a vast experience in proving this remedy on almost 10 to 20 provers, and he took a female Leptrodectus Hasselti and potentized this with lot of emotional thing came out. It was done under the guidance of Jeremy Sher in the Dynamis school. And this is the main hallmark of this remedy, that Lectrodectus hesselti can be used in any condition, whether it is a cancer. Now, ailments from bullied also you will see in repertory. Ailments from neglected by mother, you will see Lectrodectus. Ailments from shame, you will see Lectrodectus. So, and then there's a lot of suppressed anger. Anger is not so visible. So if you look at the rubrics of anger with Leptoductus, you may see only 3-4 rubrics. You may not see many rubrics because everything is within. Slowly the person loses the identity. Who am I? Why am I here for? And then all the delusions which I just discussed with you about a Superman controlling her life, these kinds of things come. We started with Leptoductus, again, reduction of painkiller, reduction of immunosuppression, treated the woman for 3-4 years. Finally, all her swellings, all her inflammation in the joints totally disappeared under the Leptoductus hesselti. So I have some wonderful cases with that. I have treated cardiac cases, rheumatology cases. I have treated psychological cases where emotional trauma was very strong. It comes very close to snake remedies. So many times the rubrics of snake and spider are together, which I just discussed with you, Atik. And that's all. The second case anything else?
No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. I'll pass over to Naila because I know she wants to carry on this this theme specifically.
Before this conversation, we were thinking about discussing snake remedies with you, and we loved how the conversation took us to snake remedies and spider remedies. It will be a great honor if you can help us and other homeopaths to differentiate between what are the key differences between snake remedies and spider remedies, as you yourself has so beautifully mentioned that they come close together, and why would you go with a snake remedy and not with the spider remedy if both are coming together and have the same weight in our appreciation?
To be very honest, Naila, we have to start with sphere of action. So if you are thinking about throat, anything to do with throat, any pathology, it's always snake. Thinking of eyes, correct? It's snake. You're thinking of heart, it's always snake. If you're thinking of constriction, it's always snake. You understood? And if you're thinking about circulation, please think about snake remedies. Understood? Now, if you are thinking about spider remedies, correct?
Yes.
Now, spider remedies has lot to do with nervous system. Will you keep this in mind? Nervous system. That is why the peripheral nerves, that's very importantly get affected. And the basal ganglia, part of the brain, that typically gets affected. The basal ganglia, cerebellum gets affected. And most important thing that you will see in spider is activity. Snakes have ambition. They can die for ambition. They run behind the ambition. While spiders remedy need to work, need to perform. Much more important to do anything than to reach the certain goal in life. They want recognition. They want appreciation, especially from the family. They are so busy, so industrious, they cannot sit idle. So Sunday and holidays are a big punishment for spider remedies. But they can have so much energy, but they don't want to eat. They eat very little. So they may eat 10%, but they have energy 200%. That is important. They eat very little. Snake remedies, they eat a lot. They have a very big appetite. Spider remedies needs to be seen, needs to be watched. And when they are suffering, they need to be pitied. They want to show to others how much they are suffering, as they have the idea that they suffer because of the family and because of the society that never allowed them to show and express their own basic needs. This is so characteristic, what we call a sadomasochistic way of handling life. Sadomasochism is very characteristic of spider remedy much more. Then comes hypochondriasis. Not much in snake remedies, too much in spiders, and a sense of persecution very strong in spiders than snake. Then speed. They have a very altered sense of rhythm in life. They are much more speedy than the rest of the people. To keep up with them, they have to slow down and over control their activity and movement with great effort. On the other hand, the movements can also be very exaggerated with involuntary movements that you can see trembling and twitching and all those things. So they have a sort of dyskinesia. So either overactivity, and the overactivity becomes so much that they sometimes have to control. And this overactivity is seen in Parkinsonism, tics, nervous tics, as you know, or you know about this disease if you see under Tourette syndrome, Tourette syndrome.
Hmm.
Have you heard of it? A kind of Tourette kind of situation you will see. Then to keep them quiet, many times they like music. Music is a very strong phenomena with spiders. And the rhythm. So dancing, music, restlessness, activity, dyskinesia, the sense of persecution, eating disorder. They hardly eat. That is very important. They refuse to eat. They want to show to the world that they are very independent and they don't need other people. So they don't need even food to keep themselves very energetic. Very little food is good for them. So basically, if you see from Jungian psychology, they refuse their own phallic mother. And who is the phallic mother? Masculine controlling mother. Now here in this case, I told you that mother was neglecting her all the way from the childhood. Did I not mention to in Leptodactylus hasselti?
Yeah. Yes.
So this is refuse their own phallic masculine controlling mother, who in their eyes is responsible to cut down their basic needs. So basically, many spider remedies are always very complaining. So this is in short what I can tell you about from the psychology point of view. Then I told you from the sphere of action point of view, correct? And finally, you can look about at the physical level, lot of hypersensitivity. Lot of hypersensitivity is very characteristic in a spider remedy, not much seen. And the pain that is there in spider remedies are usually very stinging. You are like penetration. The pain goes quite deep inside, emotional as well as psychological or physical also. So this is very important. They have a very immature state of sexuality. So as an adolescent, which is the part where they are getting matured very sexually, correct? You get sexual ideas when you are adolescent. But here in this case, they do not know how to handle that sexuality, how to handle it. And that is why many times either they go into a severe masturbation, premature sex, and all those kind of sexual things. Many spider remedies have strong desire to drink instead of food. So this is a second characteristic. They drink more and eat very little. Lot of periodicity. If you see periodicity, because I told you rhythm, correct? I told you rhythm and music. Periodicity is very strong, very strong in many spider remedies. Attachment to tobacco, very important. Attachment to tobacco, as you see asthma, as you see cough, all those things are better by smoking and better by chewing tobacco, better by smoking a pipe. So that attachment to tobacco is very important. And I told you the nervous system. So convulsions, jerk, trembling, Parkinsonism, Tourette syndrome. You understood? Most of them are very chilly. Most of the snakes are very hot. They are very chilly. Cold aggravates lack of vital heats. And strong desire for tobacco. Tobacco ameliorates. The common dreams that I see in many is the death of the relatives. So a lot of death of the relatives also you can see. I think so. I've discussed enough. I can talk more, but this should be enough for
No,
you.
that's the really, really, it's been, for a moment I forgot that we were hosting the show.
Okay. Anything
You took
else?
us to a different sphere of
Sorry.
action.
Felt more like a seminar. We're really thankful to you because
Yeah,
this is
You
very
asked
helpful.
me, so I thought I'm passionate to answer your passionate.
it's so,
Very
so good.
helpful, very helpful, very, very
Very, very,
helpful.
very.
It has
Yeah.
given us a complete gist of spider remedies. There are other remedies that were coming to my mind when you were talking, which are usually used in children with autistic spectrum disorder as well, because the symptoms are similar to spider remedies, like tuberculum.
Yes.
It's very similar. Lycopodium is sometimes very helpful. Phosphorus was coming to my mind. Hyoscyamus was coming as well. Do you see any relation between spider remedies or you and these remedies used later on or
Yeah.
miasmatic?
See, tuberculum is a very common remedy.
Yeah.
And if the symptoms are there, we use tuberculum. It's not that we don't use. But certain gases are very useful. I feel treatment of autism, like helium,
Mhm.
if you have heard of this remedy,
Yeah.
helium,
Yes.
Yeah.
then argon,
Mm-hmm.
and then hydrogen. These three remedies, neon, these are four remedies which I use a lot in my practice. If there are symptoms, I definitely use this remedy.
Mm-hmm.
And depending, so if you want, I can talk on any one remedy because time is going fast. So I can talk on.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you for those listening, especially the students of homeopathy and the seasoned practitioner who are interested in insect, snake, or spider remedies, what reading material do you recommend? Or reference material even?
See,
What would you use?
I have written a very big book on snake remedies. So I would recommend my book because I have done a lot of research. I have myself proved more than 9 snakes in my life.
Oh,
Which are
brilliant.
not there. So from snakes to simillimum is the title of the book. From snakes to simillimum. It's available maybe in Amazon. You can try.
I have the small booklet of yours, the green one.
No, there's a
This is a
snake.
big one, yeah, the recent
Very
one.
big one, yeah, so you can not recent. I have written it 10, 12 years back.
Needs to go out then. People
Yeah.
need to know about the book.
So it is there good. You can read that book. Anything else?
Definitely. You were going to talk about the gases. I would, if you can touch upon argon.
Okay, okay. So I'm not going to teach you argon because meaning of the word argon is not.
Yeah.
Comes from the Greek word, means lazy, idle, something like that, And we use argon a lot medically in pharmaceutical industry, in making intravenous remedies, and you use it in surgery also when you want to coagulate the plasma, and so many things we use argon. Now, from homeopathy point of view, I have some ideas of myself based on the proving. So would you like to know my ideas?
Yes, your idea.
Please do share.
So first thing is that they want to enjoy their relationships because they feel they don't have to make any effort. So without effort, if any relationship comes in their life, now I'm talking not only of autism, but adults also put together.
Mhm.
So they can enjoy what they did in the past within the relationship, but for the moment, they can give it at rest. They can have contact with various relations, but they don't want to do anything special. Let things take their own course. They feel happy and carefree. Now, this happens in midlife where you have been married for some years and you don't have to impress your partner. You don't have to convince your partner. You take your partner as granted and you hold the hand and you enjoy that relationship without working too much into that relationship. That is the one part of the story. Then they do not expect anything special from anybody. It's a very free easygoing life. So here you will see a sense of little laziness, sense of little lethargy, sense of little less activity. Sit on the chair like a potato couch, look at the television, hold the hands, not do many things in life. You have ability, but you will not be able to do many things. So things are quite superficial, non-committal, and they don't get involved with anybody at a deeper level. This is one of the feeling. They don't have to do anything with work or duty. Very little work, and that's all. If work is going to stress them even little bit, they will quit. So they are quitters. They want to quit the moment they feel they have to do something little hard, little out of the way. So I want a job near my house. I don't want to travel by train. I don't want to travel by bus. It should be near my house. Something like the duty hours should be only 2-3 hours, something like that. So it is as if they deny the existence of duty. Responsibility is a word they don't know. So they flutter throughout their life like a butterfly. Wherever the responsibility comes, they fly away. And they like to be in their own personal, cheerful mood, not influenced by anything or any circumstances around them. Let the world burn. I will play my violin, something like that. So signs of lightheadedness, sense of a floating, you understood? Now, this can happen in people who have inherit a large inheritance from the father, from the grandfather, and so they have to do nothing. Just live a luxurious life, just live a bohemian type of life, not work, rest all the time, flitter the time, marry somebody who is also very, very rich. The father-in-law will be rich, the wife will be rich. They never have to think about money. They never have to think about work. And what they do? Holidays. Holidays is very important for them. Not doing any duty, time to retreat, enjoy. And if I'm jobless also, and if I don't do anything also, I am also very equally happy. So this is very important part. One part of argon. The second part of argon is little difficult to understand. And the second part, now we are coming slowly to the hyperactive child, autistic child, this kind of a behavioral problem in children. The first is the abrupt, very abusive, highly accident prone, like agaricus, like arnica. They are very accident prone, very restless, anger with a lot of jealousy, anger when you speak to them. Anger comes out so suddenly like a jack in the box, and anger is very violent. So this is another very important thing that you will see in a hyperactive child. But the strongest love for cats. They love cats like tuberculinum and sulfur. They love cats. They love animals also. But amongst all the animals, cat is the excellent remedy. Very restless, of course you all know, but they love fast car. And when they sit in the fast car, they develop anxiety. So they love the fast car, but the moment you speed the car beyond 50, beyond 40, they develop butterflies in the stomach, like Adamus, like a diamond, like arsenic album. Remember that. Very awkward children, awkward in their manners, very clumsy. You can use the word clumsy, and constantly biting the nails. Constantly biting the nails. Very chaotic children. I can say that also in argon. And strong desire for blue color. In argon, I have seen many children using blue color, but they will not use green color at all. So aversion to green color. They love a red color also. They love yellow color also. But green is something which they cannot concentrate at all in studies. For sure, cannot concentrate in studying, reading, writing. It's next to impossible for them to make them sit to study, because there is so much confusion going in their mind. Now, why this is happening in argon? Let us see that. Most important is the issues of identity. There is a very big problem with identity, the way you see in alumina and the way you see in other remedies like alumina. So how did this identity disappeared in argan? That is very important for us to understand. And here it is most important is emotional excitement or suppress anger. These are the two characteristic situations where this identity gets suppressed. Danger, there's a strong impression of danger within their family, within their whatever you can say, within their environment. And they always feel they may receive some injury or something can very badly happen to them. Or again, here the same thing like spider under superhuman control. All these fears can invite this kind of situation of identity. So if you see fear of being injured also, fear happening something will be also, all these things are very characteristic in argan. And they love to dance like which I just mentioned to you about spiders. They have a very good dancers. The best dancers in homeopathy, one of them is argan and sulfur. Sulfur and argan children, they learn dancing very easily. But when this kind of situation comes of some danger, or they are going to be injured, or there are discords in the family, or there is some violence in the family, they love to escape. They love to escape, not run away from the house, but escape emotionally, escape psychologically. They cannot stay alone in the house then. They have a fear of darkness, but a strong fear of being injured. That's very characteristically seen. And that is why if this fear is still continuing in the school, they may behave foolishly also, correct? They may behave very foolishly, and then they will be lazy, indolent, not making mistakes. Most important mistake that I see in argan children is sides. They don't know what is left side and what is right side. So they keep on making mistakes between left and right. They make mistakes in speaking. They make mistakes in spelling. They make mistakes in words. They can use wrong words. They don't know how to see the time. So I think so. These are some of the autistic features which I have mentioned to you, my friend. I think it's a big remedy. So I don't remember everything, but whatever I remembered, I mentioned to you.
I think I think you've remembered a great deal, Dr. Master. I think it's absolutely genius. This has been a really interesting Homeopathy Health Show episode because, again, I forgot that we were actually hosting it. So I'm just so gone into what you're saying and so focused, and I know that Nyla is the same here as well because we're looking at each other.
I could just sit here for the whole day listening to you, Dr. Sam. It was amazing.
It's really been very, very fascinating. But sadly, I have to say, reluctantly, we are out of time.
Sure.
And what we would like to do, of course, is invite you back later this year, and maybe we can have some more time and talk a bit deeper.
Yeah. After a few months, yes. So it was a very nice, spontaneous thing for me also. I enjoyed talking with you, and I enjoyed talking with Naila also. And I'm thankful to you for inviting me. Whatever little dust of knowledge I have in my brain, I gave it to you. Maybe next time more.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We are absolutely sure this is going to go to many homeopaths, and they now will be able to differentiate between spider and snake remedies. They will now go and read argan for sure. Thank you. Thank you. It was a delight. It was a pleasure. Honored to be with you here. Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
I do hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Homeopathy Health Show. Please do support the show by clicking follow on my socials. Remember, the more exposure the podcast receives, the better for homeopathy around the world. You can find me on Instagram by searching for @like_treatslike, and on both Facebook and TikTok by searching for @like_treatslike. So let's promote the voice of homeopathy on radio and podcast around the world together. Don't forget to visit me online at www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast tab. Here you'll be able to see all the guests that have joined me on the show so far. And of course, you can stream on demand the latest episode to your mobile, tablet or PC. Until next time, stay safe and take care.